Nothing can ever work without technical glitches. So, we begin tonight's story on Brompton Street in Kensington. At the fairly recently redecorated offices of an undertaker. They've not long moved here from their original address in a less salubrious part of town. But now J. Carter and Sons are set up in the quite smart Kensington district, offering all manner of funerary services. And today I hesitate to call it a shop front, as seems a little out of keeping with the very serious natures of their services. But in their front office we find Thomas Carter, a family member and part of the firm. And, well, what would we see? What would Thomas Carter look like? Who do we see there?
Thomas is a rather sort of stout person, just over 5 foot, but 5'2", 3", thereabouts, but seems much taller. Top hat helps. But he's rather sharp-eyed, seems a bit worn and weathered, but although his outfit is pretty much standard of the time, black, kind of expected, most Victorian gentlemen do wear black, but although good quality, it's quite worn. It's about average looking, really.
And the offices themselves, what kind of decorative vibe are we going for here?
The main office, when someone walks in through the front door, is rather plain. It's mainly wooden furnishings, although there's a few sets of flowers scattered around. It's generally just, I suppose, not restrained as such, but I'm trying to think of the proper word for it. Anyway, it's just a nice plain office, no particular decorations other than some flowers in ornaments scattered around the room, and having just recently moved here, there's probably still the smell of varnish on some of the counters. It's pretty much a plain office with a few comfortable chairs, maybe a sofa for people to wait on whilst you come to the front desk.
Okay. Most importantly though, how well oiled are the hinges of your front door, and is there any kind of bell above it?
Would you like them to be not well oiled?
Up to you.
Very likely there is a bell.
Okay. So as you're sat in this office, the door opens, you hear the little of the bell over the door. And a young woman steps into the funeral parlour. She's dressed in black, as many of your customers so very often are. But she looks to be somewhere in her 20s, but it's hard to be entirely certain. Her skin is sickly pale. Doesn't look like she's had much sunlight, perhaps convalescent of a long illness. And she's got dark hair, sort of slightly wispy, coming out of its fastenings. And she's, despite the fact that it is quite a warm June summer's day, she is wearing a sort of long cape over her dress. Black, to match the black of her crepe dress. And she looks around, sort of examining the room. She goes, "Excuse me, sir."
Good morning. I am Thomas Carter of, J. Carter and Sons. How can I help you?
I would like to buy a funeral, please.
That's no problem at all. That's what we're here for.
Yes. It will need to be arranged, well, not exactly on short notice, but this is not really a long-term plan. Possibly sometime this month, but a funeral in advance, not a funeral for someone already dead. That might.
Oh, that's good. Yes, I understand. And the name of who the funeral is for?
Victoria Fairfax. I'll offer payment in advance.
No problem at all. What sort of funeral were you looking for?
Something quite grand. Not too grand. I'm not talking state funeral.
Something respectable.
Respectable, yes. I want some plumes on the horses.
Of course, that can be arranged. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Victoria Fairfax.
Oh. Are you unwell?
Nothing contagious, I promise you. Nothing. But...
Shouldn't be a problem.
Will this cover it?
I don't know, Keeper, will it?
She hands you probably more money than is really necessary to cover, like, the kind of funeral she was discussing. Like, this will definitely get you more than a few plumes on the horses. This isn't all bells, all whistles, professional mourners, parade down the streets sort of funeral.
I'll probably just separate it a bit and just take what is necessary for the funeral that she is after.
Keep the rest.
Sure. You're very generous.
Forward to the next person who comes in here.
That's a very good idea. I'll put it towards helping the next person.
Good day to you, Mr. Carter.
Yes,
I wish you the best.
And same to you.
And she steps out of the shop, door closing behind her with a jaunty ring of the bell.
I do expect at this time people would often do that by funerals in advance, sort of form of insurance to make sure their relatives don't have to, also to make sure they've got a nice funeral.
Yeah. And it's after the door's closed behind her that you notice that she seems to have dropped something. She's shutting the door.
What has she
dropped? It looks
dropped?
to be a small letter. Just an envelope.
Is it addressed to anyone, or?
It is. It is. There's no stamp on it. It looks like it was either not been stamped yet or intended to be delivered by hand. And the address reads, Miss Martha Carter, 18, Grosvenor Square, Mayfair, London.
Okay, I'll, haven't seen her drop it. I'll try to catch her after she's left. Just run to the front door.
You
already jumped in the carriage and gone?
You know what? Let's have the first roll for Mr. Carter. Give me a spot hidden, please.
Oh, spot hidden. No, I'll just try and find his character sheet. Now, he's not good at anything, so we'll see. That's a fail.
There is no sign of her as you look up and down the street, in the bustle of people moving up and down Brompton Street.
Okay. How far is this address from where we're based?
Not too far. It would be a walk, but a quite pleasant walk across the corner of Hyde Park. Across to from Knightsbridge to Mayfair, where Grosvenor Square is.
Fair enough. I probably won't go just yet because business and all.
Yeah.
I'll wait till essentially, I'll say lunchtime when my sister will come to cover the front desk. and then I'll set off to deliver this letter.
Okay, you take a pleasant stroll across Hyde Park. It's a sunny summer's day. There's people strolling the paths, feeding the ducks, otherwise picnicking on the grass. And your path takes you out the gates of the park and into an area of London that's a bit posher than Knightsbridge. You know, this, which is already a smart district of town, but here it's verging on the grand. You've got pillars in the front of the houses, smart coaches drawn up, footmen going about their business.
Actually, I'll probably bring my, Hector with me, the dog, just for a walk. Why not? It's a nice, pleasant walk. Makes sense.
Yeah. What sort of dog's Hector? Are we talking like big wolfhound or a little like?
Oh, a little pug, you know. I'm only joking. An English Mastiff. 6 years old. Let's see. Basically, sort of broke the info down to sort of fawn coloured, so sort of a lightish colour, but a black muzzle. And at 6 years old, they tend to be quite big, about 200 pounds, between 200 and 230 pounds, and about 30 inches high at the shoulder. But it's a big dog.
So you and your big dog step into the very smart Grosvenor Square. And you can see that number 18 is this impressive looking townhouse with a brass knocker and a little plaque beside the door. A plaque that reads, London Esoteric Society.
Have I heard of them before? Well, actually, very likely I would have from Dr. Victor Peterson.
Yeah. Your friend at the morgue has mentioned them in passing, as in his cups as he's talking about, or trying to convince you more that he definitely has seen a werewolf. And
there's no such thing. Well,
the London Esoteric Society are fighting fish people in the sewers underneath London, and he knows because he has seen the bodies. He's got the evidence, he's got the receipts. There are fish people underneath London, and also werewolves.
Of course. Yes. I believe it. There's weird stuff out there. Don't necessarily believe exactly what he's talking about, but all the same, I'll come to the front door. I'll just give it a knock, unless there's a bell to ring.
I think we've just got... Have you got a... Is there a bell installed, or are we just going for a knock, Maddie?
There might be a bell that will go to the downstairs.
So you give the bell a ring. Maddie, on a lovely June day, what would Maddie be doing?
I believe that she would be in the library taking either reading, taking notes, or knitting.
Okay. So you're sat in the library at the front of the house and you hear the front doorbell ring and James heading to answer it. Through the sort of the front door of the window, that's the word. The front window of the house, you can see a black-clad gentleman standing on the step. You can't really make out much from this side.
I'll set aside what I'm doing and go to the door of the library.
Okay, so you're in the door of the library as James passes you. He goes, are we expecting any guests, Miss Carter?
Not that I am aware of. Is everything all right?
No, I just thought I'd check before, opening the door.
Well, let them in. They may want tea.
Yes.
I'll go to the parlor.
Good afternoon, sir. How can I help?
Good afternoon. Well, this is a bit strange, to be fair. Reason for being here. My name's Thomas Carter from J. Carter and Sons Funeral Home. A young lady was just arranging a funeral service with ourselves, and she dropped a letter which is addressed to Miss Martha Carter, and it's got her address on, which is why I thought it best to bring it over. I tried to catch the lady, but she'd already left, so I thought I'd deliver it myself.
I can pass it on. That's not a problem. Sorry, Thomas Carter. You said your name is?
Thomas Carter, yes.
No relation?
Oh no, sorry, no relation. I thought it was rather strange when I saw the letter myself, but I knew the address wasn't right. Complete coincidence. I shouldn't really keep you, really, but
well, I was the lady did offer a cup of tea for visitors, but that's usually they're not just passing off post. But
true, I don't mind having a cup of tea. But,
I'll just take you through. If you wait there one moment, Miss Carter.
Yes.
A gentleman delivering a letter for you. Do you still want me to bring up the tea?
If he's just delivering a letter, if he would like to come in, he may know more about the letter.
Yeah, I think he's an undertaker.
Well, considering our business, we might need to have a contact with undertakers. Invite him in and...
Yes, that's a good point, yes. Please come this way, sir. Tea's in the parlour. Yeah. I'll get Miss Bramley to bring up some scones.
Do you mind if Hector comes as well? Into this massive dog right next to him. He can wait out here, he is well trained. You prefer?
I think that might be best. Miss Carter keeps a lot of valuable and fragile artifacts in the house.
To sleep most of the time.
Not mix well with a large dog.
Perhaps not. I'll probably hit something over with his tail.
That would be really very unfortunate, sir.
So
none of us want that.
I'll just tell Hector to stay and...
Miss Carter? Mr. Carter? Here's your tea.
Pleasure to meet you.
Just ring if you need me for anything.
Thank you. Did James pass Miss Carter?
Oh yeah, he also passed. He passes her the letter and sets the tea down on the table.
Yes, good afternoon. Sorry to bother you. This is rather unusual, but I believe James may have given you the information. A young lady was arranging a funeral and she accidentally dropped this letter with us. She dropped on the floor in our main office. So I thought it best to deliver it as I couldn't catch the young lady before she left.
I appreciate that. Please help yourself to some tea. If you don't mind me reading the letter briefly. I'm going to open the letter and read it.
As you're doing that, the young lady was called Victoria Fairfax.
Keeper.
That name does
Do I
not
know Victoria?
mean anything to you.
Nothing to me. Okay.
As you open it, it's not really a letter. It's just a single piece of card with the little gold curls around each corner. And it appears to be an invitation. It says, Miss Fairfax requests the pleasure of Miss Carter's company at dinner on Thursday the 12th of June at 6 o'clock at 23 Milner Street, Brompton.
It was an invitation.
Oh.
I appreciate you delivering it. Thank you. You said she was arranging a funeral.
Yes, she didn't seem that well. The funeral she was arranging was for herself. She was paying in advance for our services to ensure that she had a respectable funeral when she passed. She did not seem that well, but she assured me it was nothing contagious. She expects it to be within the next month that the funeral will be. It is not unusual for people to pay in advance for their funerals to ensure that they have a a good send-off as such.
Yes, no, I understand that.
To their families.
All right. Thank you. I don't expect her funeral to be before the 12th of June.
Today is currently the 12th of June.
I was going to ask what date we're on.
Then I would not have said that if it is, in fact, the 12th of June.
Something I forgot to mention at the beginning.
Well, thank you for your hospitality. I should really leave, it's a lovely part of the city, this. I don't tend to come here that often. We're based in Knightsbridge.
You're in Knightsbridge. Is that your office?
Yes, it is.
And James mentioned that you are a funeral home?
We are.
All right. Well, I dare say, if you see anything unusual, we do tend to look into things that are unusual. So please come back or write if you see anything of such.
Well, to be fairly honest, we're quite respectable and discreet. We do not tend to violate the privacy of our customers. Although, I believe you might be familiar with a Dr. Victor Peterson.
Yes, we've been involved in. Yeah, we've been involved in several cases wherein he's done autopsies, and things like living crabs were inside the lungs.
I'm fairly certain that can't happen. Although
I've seen them myself.
Some strange things. But there must be a lot of things we do not understand. Probably much more we do not understand than we know.
Yes. Well, as I said, if anything extremely peculiar deems something you need looked into, let us know.
I will do so.
Thank you.
Well,
have a lovely day.
I will, and I hope you do as well. And I'll stand up and start to make my leave.
Okay. As Mr. Carter takes his leave.
I don't know anything about Victoria Fairfax, do her being that she's in the same sort of area the business is. Brompton.
Make me unless you can think of a better role, make me a luck roll.
Can't think of any roles, so I'll go with one.
I really need to invent the social connections. Do you know this person role? I guess credit rating handles that for some things, but this is just, I think, a case of pure luck.
Or even education might in some cases. But...
Yeah, education or luck. I'll let that be your choice.
Okay, pass the luck roll.
The name Victoria Fairfax doesn't mean anything to you, but there are a family of Fairfaxes living further in the Knightsbridge area that you've handled some funerals for before.
So a familiar name in the area.
Yeah, you buried a William Fairfax last year. But you don't remember a Victoria in particular, but it seemed like quite a large family, or connections of various families.
Like a name known in the area, that's also. Yeah. Okay, I'll just return to the business.
Okay. As Mr. Carter's been shown to the door, James returns to the parlour. So, Miss Carter, will you be needing the carriage later? I mean, just in case you were going anywhere. I mean, not to say that you necessarily are.
Yes,
couldn't help but
actually,
overhear a little bit of...
yes, actually, this letter was actually an invitation for dinner tonight. Let me write off a acceptance, and if you can have that posted immediately, so that they know that I will be there. And then I will prepare myself for dinner.
Of course. I'll
Thank
tell
you.
Mo to get the carriage. So, as Maddie is preparing for dinner, Mr. Carter, you return to your business to find a familiar young woman waiting in the office of your J. Carter and Sons.
Victoria, by any chance?
It is Victoria, yes.
Oh,
Mr.
welcome to
Carter.
see you again. I just dropped off you. Stanley dropped an invite or a letter or something.
Oh, yes. I was meaning to post that.
Yes, I went and posted it. I just went for a nice walk.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, I tried to catch you just after you left, but I was too slow by the time I noticed it.
Sorry, I had
my time, and it's a pleasant day.
lot of business to take care of. Thank you.
It's no trouble at all. Anything else you require, or?
No, I just came to pick that up. I had to fear that I'd dropped it.
Well, I believe I wouldn't have heard about the acceptance of it, would I? That was just
you'd left before that.
Yes. Would have been rude for me not to have delivered it.
Yes. Did you? Was Miss Carter in? Is she?
I think she was. I spoke with her.
Good. Just her?
I'm not sure how many people were in the household. I only spoke with herself and the butler.
No, that's fine. He's always been there.
Are you expecting there to be more people there?
No, I don't think so. Maybe, but no, it's good that it's only her. Don't need to involve anyone else. But thank you, sir. I will be on my way.
Is there anything you need help with at all? You're not in any sort of trouble, or?
No. Everything will be resolved. And
Can I do a sus roll?
you can make me a psychology roll. Yes, you can.
Because, yeah, someone arranging their own funeral and all this doesn't make sense. Success. He's good at people because he does it a lot.
As you're sort of turning out, sort of heading out the door, it's hard to really put a pin on what is it that's wrong about what she's saying, but you have a very bad feeling about this. Something about the way she's saying there's something almost
as if she's trying to do
morbid
something.
glee in her words.
That something will end.
Yes. She leaves the shop and a bell rings behind her.
Well, that's disconcerting.
Time ticks by as Maddie makes her preparations. And time to head out for dinner is fast approaching. Do either of you have anything you wish to do before dinner time ticks around?
Nope. Just go home, grab some food, just relax.
Okay.
I think that I would speak with... Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. He'll just, first thing around this time, he will just go for food, just an evening meal, perhaps visit his family. His parents are still based at the business.
Yeah.
Maybe he's stopping with them actually to have an evening meal, like the whole family together for the evening.
Maddie is going to speak with James and Beau.
Uh,
Sorry.
yes, Mom?
Um, it's as it appears that I am going to be alone at this dinner, or at least from this household, and the woman had arranged for her funeral for later this month. I would like you to be prepared to either leave quickly or pull me out of the building quickly.
Yes, Mom. So, Bo gives. So, usual carriage waiting, don't go off anywhere circumstances. One of those parties.
Potentially. I'm not sure. I've never met the woman. But the fact that she's preparing a funeral for herself, Mr. Carter, who visited earlier, did say she was kind of sickly. So I'm not entirely sure what is going on. Just be prepared.
I'm always prepared. Bo looks his most prepared when he opens the carriage door to you. You notice he's got probably a sort of a blackjack costume tucked away in his belt, just in case. James looks more on the nervous side, shall I... I'll wait here. If that's... Unless you need me to come with you, Miss Carter?
No, if anything should happen tonight, I expect that I will attempt to leave rather than deal with it on my own.
Yes, I will. I can try and ring Mr. McCrashley again, see if he's got back from his business.
Yes, please. And let him know where I am going to be if he does become available.
Yes. No.
Thank you. I will enter the carriage.
Yeah. So the carriage, it's not a long carriage journey, but it is a scenic one. It's still light. It's only 6 o'clock, and it's summer in London, and it's still a nice sunny summer afternoon. If you head round from Mayfair down through Knightsbridge, down Brompton Street, you pass by a smart-looking funeral home. You can see J. Carter and Sons on the Brompton Road, so you head down into Brompton. And then the carriage pulls up outside 23 Milner Street. There are lights on in the windows, but there doesn't seem to be a sign of a party going on. In fact, the house seems quiet and still.
All right. I will depart from the carriage, and I'll just look at Bo and just remember, be ready.
I'll be ready.
And I will knock on the door.
The knock echoes through the house beyond. And it wasn't a knock. The door swings open. It hasn't been closed properly.
Hello?
No response comes from within. If you'd like, you can make me a listen check.
I would. Hard success?
There's no response. You do hear movement. Someone moving around upstairs in the house. You hear the creak of a floorboard, perhaps the shuffling movement from somewhere upstairs.
Hello? I'll say a little louder. I'll open the door a bit and take a half step in. Hello? I'm Martha Carter. I sent a letter accepting dinner tonight.
Still no response comes. Just quiet stillness from the house. The gas lamps are burning brightly. It looks like someone was here. You heard movement.
Is the home small?
It looks to be quite a smart townhouse. Probably would have several bedrooms. Usually probably at least one servant in a house this size. Maybe two or more.
I'll look behind me at Bo.
Shall I take you back?
And I'll pull out.
This?
Huh? What was that?
I was just saying, shall I take you back, miss, or are you going in?
I'm going to look at my little watch that I have on me. How long has it been? You said it was 6 o'clock when I left.
Depends. Were you aiming to be on time or fashionably late?
Fashionably late.
So by now it's probably coming up on 6:30.
I'll pull the door shut and I'll walk back to the carriage. Yes, I think let's go home. No one was responding.
Yep, right away, miss. That seems, nothing even on fire this time.
No, I've not done that yet. We'll see what happens.
Probably not wise in a terrace. Come on, let's get us home. And the carriage trundles on. Passing by a black-clad gentleman on the street. It's just another dark carriage passing on its way. As, Thomas, your walk back from your family's dinner takes you past Miller Street. You see the lights burning in the house. Not much sign of much else going on.
Oh, it's okay. I just thought, seeing he passed through that area, he'd probably, having seen the invite, was be just a bit curious.
Oh,
just
yes.
a little bit of wander
Take
past.
a little detour around the front. Yeah.
But he wouldn't obviously approach the place. He wasn't invited. But
there doesn't seem to be much of anything going on there. The house is still with a few lights burning in the windows.
Oh, well.
Nothing else going on.
Must be a quiet. So I'll just carry on walking home.
Okay. As you walk on home, and Maddie takes the carriage home, all is peaceful, all is calm, and it's a beautiful sunny evening, and absolutely nothing strange is going on. And that is where we're going to take a break, as it seems the natural point. And we'll be back in 10 minutes' time. I just noticed that the mid-roll had just ended. We were... Sorry. We were discussing tea. It genuinely, it was very important. Yes. So, on June 12th, 1890, Maddie Carter was invited to a party that she did not attend and did not appear to exist. She headed home for a peaceful night's sleep. Since the incidents on the Orient Express, you have not been troubled by any visits from your friendly patron. In fact, since failing to retrieve the arm, you've heard nothing from him at all. One could almost hope that he's forgotten about you. And this night is like all the nights before. He doesn't visit. You awake the next morning, June the 13th, which is a Friday. The luckiest of all days. Meanwhile, a short distance away, in a slightly different part of the city, Thomas Carter awakes after a night's sleep. Do either of you have any plans for this day?
Yes. Hold on one moment. Oh, sorry.
Bless you.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Was not
Once more.
expecting that. I do have plans. I am going to write a letter to Miss Fairfax, apologizing for the previous evening, giving a note stating that nobody responded to my knock on the door, and so I went home. And then after a little bit, I think I may also report to the police that what had happened, and should request that somebody check in on her, since I was informed that she was ill.
Miss, yes, we'll send an officer around there to check. Is Miss Fairfax a friend of yours?
No, not a friend. I'm not sure what brought her to invite me to dinner. Other than the fact that my business, the Keeper, it's a club, right?
Yes, a club.
Yeah. That my club is known for odd things.
Well, yeah, we'll send someone round to check it out.
Thank you.
And as you leave the police station, is there anything else you would like to do to follow up on it, or is that the matter closed as far as Maddie is concerned for now?
Nothing else at this time.
How about you, Mr. Carter? Is there anything you would like to do immediately the day following?
I think it's a quiet day. I don't think there are any funerals planned for this Friday. So chances are it's more than likely a bit of bookkeeping inventory just to make sure they've got enough booked in for the work they need, like regards stone, timber and that sort of thing. So in the morning it'll be a quiet day, just bookkeeping more than anything else.
Okay, and so the day passes in peace. Because why else would it not? There's no reason for anything odd to have happened. And it's not until late that afternoon that Maddie, you get a knock on the door of the society. 2 knocks and then someone sees the bell and remembers to ring it. James goes to answer and comes back a moment later to say, Miss Carter, Inspector Thorne's at the door. He says it's about a matter you talked to the police about earlier today. You're muted?
Yes, please, invite him in.
Will do. Inspector, this way, please. Miss Carter, long time no see. Place is same as ever. How are you? How are all the rest of the associates? The society, that's what you're calling yourselves. Yes, society.
Everyone is doing well so far. Several have decided to take holiday.
Well, holiday is good for everyone. I like to get down to Brighton with my family occasionally. Sea air is good for everyone.
Yes, please, have a seat. Would you like some tea?
I wouldn't say no to a spot of tea, no. This probably won't take long. You stopped by the station earlier to ask about Miss Fairfax at, was it 23 Milner Street down in Brompton?
Yes, I'll pull out the invitation that I received yesterday. I was invited yesterday. I've never met her before.
I thought you might have some more information on her or the house or something. Only, sent some officers out. Well, not me. My colleague down in Brompton sent some officers over. Got no answer, so stuck their head in through the door, which wasn't locked, by the way. House is empty. Only thing in there, a body that's been there for months, probably.
Goodness.
No sign of your Miss Fairfax. Did you get the letter in person?
Yes. So, there is a Mr. Thomas Carter who works with J. Carter and Sons Funeral Home.
Yes,
he actually delivered the letter. He said that the lady who was arranging a funeral had dropped it, and so he delivered it to me. He said that the lady was quite ill in appearance, and that the funeral she was arranging was for herself later that month. Or this month.
Well, she was arranging her funeral yesterday. That can't be her at Milner Street. Which begs the question of whose body is that? And,
if you would like my accounting of what happened when I was there, and I can also.
You were there, yes. And did you go in the house? Did you see anything?
I stayed at the threshold. The door, I knocked on it and it cracked open. So I called into the house. I heard some footsteps or something upstairs. And then, but still no answer. And I decided not to go in. I shut the door behind me and came home. If you'd like, Bo, my carriage driver, is here, and he can give you his accounting of what he saw.
You're not under suspicion for anything. Just trying to get to the bottom of a weird thing. Do miss Barnes sometimes. He had a good way of getting to the bottom of these things. They all turn out to have a nice mundane explanation in the end. But, thank you for your time, miss. I'd best go and speak to this Mr. Carter, see if he knows anything more about it. And you definitely never met Miss Fairfax before?
Not that I am aware of.
Well, thank you. Good day.
Thank you. Please, let me know if anything has come up, because I'm quite curious now. You said the body was there for quite a while?
I'm no doctor, but it doesn't take a doctor to see that I've been there for some time. You can tell. Pass it down to the morgue, they'll have more information, but Look, you don't need to worry your head about it. The police have got this all in hand. It's
Understood.
Good day, miss.
Thank you. Have a great day.
And he departs.
And within an hour of him leaving, I leave, and I'm going to go research that address and the Fairfax family.
Okay, so you're going to just try and find, like, information in the newspapers, what kind of information you're looking for?
My plan is to look up the owners of the home, see who they were, how long ago they lived there, and such as that. And then I'm going to research the Fairfax family, seeing who Victoria Carter is, and Victoria Fairfax. And
she is not a Carter.
She is not a Carter, no. See who she is, and just to figure out if I should be really concerned about what's going on.
Okay. So, as you head off to search through these records, I think I'm going to call for a library use roll here. See how much information you might be able to dredge up just from going through the paperwork. Whilst I also check the
That is a success.
when the land registry office was founded. Okay, so that is a success. I'll get back to you in just a moment with what you find out. Because meanwhile, Inspector Thorne is heading over to J. Carter and Son. And he steps through the front door with a jangling of the bell. Nice place. Mr. Carter, I presume. Which Mr. Carter are you?
Thomas Carter.
Just the Carter I'm looking for. Not related to Martha Carter.
No relation at all.
No. Be a small world if you were. Well, actually, the reason I'm here rather relates to her.
Is she well?
Oh, she is fine. Did a young lady come in here yesterday? A Miss Victoria Fairfax.
That she did. She came to arrange an advance payment on her funeral that she believed would be within the next month.
And she paid for it, and she was...
Oh, she paid for it in advance, yes. She wanted a nice, respectable funeral.
Okay. You're sure she was Victoria Fairfax?
I do not know her personally. I'm familiar with the family name, but that is the name she gave.
Right.
Yes, she did.
Did she mention anything odd, anything strange?
Well, I thought it was rather strange myself. It didn't feel right when you have like a instinct with some things where you have that feeling where the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Something's not quite right. But I didn't have that feeling then. But whilst she was visiting us, made the payment, she left. She accidentally dropped a letter for a Miss Martha Carter. So I tried to catch the young lady as she left, but by the time I'd noticed the letter, she was long gone. So I thought, well, I'll drop the letter in myself. So I did so, and it turned out to be an invite in some fashion. But Miss Fairfax, or whoever it may have been, actually returned to my office later, so to pick up the letter, she thought she had lost it somewhere. So I told her that I delivered it on her behalf, and she did ask a few questions about Miss Carter. She was curious whether Miss Carter was on her own, which I thought was unusual in itself.
Well, you've
Yes.
clearly not had many dealings with Miss Carter.
And I just assured her that I delivered the invite on her behalf. But something just didn't feel right about the situation. Said something about a situation being resolved one way or another, or being resolved recently, or being resolved soon. I don't understand.
Well, if you see her in here again, could you let us know? Yeah.
I can do so. Did you give your name? Sorry, I'm not sure.
Inspector Thorne.
Inspector
Scotland
Thorne.
Yard.
Scotland Yard.
Yes, you're Scotland Yard now, I guess, but I suppose
True.
same old business, new premises. Things change. Right, well, good day to you, sir. And yes, if you see Miss Fairfax again, please let us know.
Will do. Yes. Has anything happened to require the police involvement?
Well.
Anything that you're allowed to tell me, obviously, with your investigations and...
There is she's a person of interest in what may just be an accidental death. We don't know yet.
Fair
We'd
enough.
really like to talk to her, but...
Well, I shall not say a word to anyone. We are discreet.
Very good, sir. And he departs. So, Maddie, in your research, what records there are for 23 Milner Street indicate that it actually belongs to a Mr. Hindley, who rents it out to various people looking for a London address. And about 3 months ago, it was rented out to a Miss Victoria Fairfax. As for the Fairfax family of the Brompton area, there seems to be quite a lot of them in various addresses, sort of scattered around. You've got about 5 different addresses with Fairfaxes living at them. Only one of them has well, I don't know if you'd even have access to that information of who lives where without...
I'm pretty certain that the librarians there know me quite well in my peculiar researches.
It's more that whether that information would exist and have been gathered. Censuses were taken, but the census office is sort of an entirely different matter. So you know that there are Fairfaxes around, but you don't sort of have a list of who lives where.
Right. All right. The other thing that I would look for are like birth and death notices, marriage notices. I'm particularly looking for Victoria Fairfax. So
there is a birth notice for Victoria Fairfax. She was born on the 17th of September. Wait, have I got my dates right? 1876.
All right.
There are a couple of other older Victoria Fairfaxes. But
family name as it is.
Born back in sort of 1812 and 1834. But none seem to be the right age for the woman that Thomas was describing. You've got one that is young and 2 that are much older.
All right. No death notices for the younger one.
No.
As far as I can tell.
She is the daughter of a William Fairfax and his wife, Anna. And she was born at an address on Brompton Street.
Does that address match with any of the other addresses?
Yes, there do seem to be still Fairfaxes at that address.
Okay. All right. I will take note of this, but then return home. I don't want to dive into it quite as quickly because I don't think Inspector Thorne would appreciate it.
Okay. So, the evening of the 13th passes in peace. Please interrupt if any of you wish to do anything unpeaceful at any point. Yes, Thomas?
Yes, having recognised the name and realised we had buried someone called William Fairfax, I'm just curious whether we have any information about that burial in our records.
Yeah, William Fairfax, he
Just a standard one.
Passed after a long illness. The funeral was paid for by his wife, now widow, Anne Fairfax, and they live about 5 doors down from the funeral home on Brompton Street.
That's handy.
If you want anything else, you can make me a library use roll. But I don't know if there's anything else
it's okay.
you're looking for.
There's nothing suspicious at all about this, though. There's no reason for me to look. It was more a curiosity when I recognised the name to have a look. But nothing else at all.
Okay. So the evening of the 13th passes in peace. And we come round to the Saturday. And again, nothing alarming seems to be happening. Business as usual. Research as usual. And in fact, everything remains fairly peaceful for a week to follow. And it's a full week after Miss Fairfax had first appeared in J. Carter and Sons that a rather upset-looking gentleman is standing in the office. He's clearly trying to keep it together. He's sort of trying to keep that stiff upper lip, but you can see, like, good sharp eyes.
Would you like to take a seat? Can I help you with anything?
Yes, it's about my wife. She passed. Yes, she passed last night. Well, I guess earlier this morning. The doctors said they could do nothing for her. So
I'm sorry.
Died in her sleep. We've got a plan with Carter and Sons.
I'm sorry. I should introduce myself. I'm Thomas Carter.
Richard Morris. You'll find us. You should find us on the books. 25 Milner Street.
And I'm guessing it'll have the wife's name in it.
Yeah, there's a plan there for both him and his wife, should they pass. And all of their children.
I'm very sorry for your loss, and we'll take care of this matter for you.
Thank you. And you go through the usual course of your business in following up on previously made arrangements. In that week that has passed, Maddie, is there any other research you would like to have done?
I think I should like to pay a visit to the morgue.
Okay. So, we're heading down to the depths beneath University College Hospital, I believe. It's probably changed between 5 different hospitals because I always fail to write down which hospital it is that the morgue's at. but the
He's a
usual
traveler.
hospital. He just appears from... And you head down the stairs into the smell of formaldehyde and cleaning fluids, masking other potentially more unpleasant smells beneath. You hear a cheery little whistle coming up, echoing through the tiled halls. And as the assistant leads you down, she calls her, Dr. Peterson, you've got a visitor. One moment. And Dr. Victor Peterson emerges from one of the side rooms, wiping his hands down on his apron and offers his hand to Maddie. Ah, Miss Carter.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Excellent.
Sounds quite
very, very, very well. Well, what brings you back here? Not seen any werewolves recently.
No, not recently. Actually, the police may have brought someone here for investigation.
They bring a lot of people here for investigation.
Yes.
That's rather the point of the place.
The body was found on Milner Street.
Let me have a look. Anything special that I might remember about it?
Possibly deceased longer than expected.
Oh, the old maggoty one. Yes. Yes, I remember that one. 23 Milner Street. Corpse of an unknown woman. It's cause of death unknown. I'm going to be honest, there wasn't much left to determine. We've still got her. We're meant to be passing her over to the funeral home soon. We've got only, being an unknown, we had to wait till unless anyone could work out who she was, but we can't keep it much longer. You can come and have a look if you want.
Yes, please.
This way. I must warn you.
I'm certain you've cleaned up some of the things.
I've cleaned up the things, but the smell is.
I take out a
pungent.
handkerchief. I take a handkerchief and prepare it to cover my nose.
Okay, as he pulls out the drawer, I am going to ask for a Constitution roll. How robust is your handkerchief? Is it an elegant lady's handkerchief, or?
Yes.
Yeah, there's no
That's a
bonus
fail.
die from the handkerchief. Yeah, you find just the smell is overpowering, and you feel the gorge rise at the back of your throat. And essentially, what's in this presence, you've got a penalty die. Half your focus is on not throwing up all over it. So anything here has a penalty die.
All right.
As you can see here, her clothes are. I take them off to examine the body, but I covered her up again best I could. But there's not really much to see. You see, it's almost like the shell of a body. Honestly,
There's no indication of how she passed?
at this point, no, I couldn't find any sign of any wounds. Doesn't look like she died a violent death. Illness. Starvation, could be anything. She's been dead.
Did you find anything on her clothing as indication of who she is?
I passed all that over to the police. There wasn't really anything there, just a few banknotes and some paperwork about a funeral, but Inspector Thorne will have all that.
Do you remember who the funeral was for on that paperwork?
The paperwork's not really my thing.
that would have been taken as notes, maybe by your assistant?
As I said, all that went. That's the police. The police handle all that. But I do the bodies. They do the not bodies. So all her clothes and items went to them. Yeah, I'd say she'd been dead at least 4 months or so before the body was found.
It's quite unfortunate.
Yeah, but other than that, I really couldn't tell you that much. It's not the. I mean, there were no fish. No, there were like maggots, but they seemed perfectly normal maggots. They didn't do anything unusual. Can't say I actually really. I mean, I wasn't. I just kind of took them out. I didn't keep any of them. Sorry. If I'd known it was one of yours, I would have kept the maggots for you.
I don't think the maggots would have been of any use to me. But I'm the one who led the police to the body. Unfortunately.
Did you know her?
No. I was told that Victoria Fairfax invited me to dinner, and that apparently was the home she had rented. So it's likely it's Victoria Fairfax. I have to determine if she was, if she's been away or not. Maybe this is somebody else who was staying there while she was away.
Look, I can check over the body again. Like, I'll give her another look. You know, one of yours is. You never know what you might find, but yeah, I'm afraid I can't really tell you much. But it's nice to see you again.
Yes.
If you have anyone, if you ever get like the heads up that one of yours is coming on, just if you let me know, I can set them aside and take a proper look.
If I ever know ahead of time, I will.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I will leave you to your work.
Thank you. And he shuts the drawer. The smell lingers in the air until you leave the room. And you don't really fully clear until you've emerged out of the hospital and into sort of the fresh air outside. This being, you know, London in the year 1890, there's a limit to how fresh any of the air can be.
Mm-hmm. I think I'll go visit Mother. Mrs. Fairfax.
Okay. So
or at least, from what I understand, the home of Mrs. Fairfax.
Okay, so you head over. Mr. Carter.
Yes?
Do you have any plans for this day?
I'm probably dealing with this new funeral I've just been told about for Mrs. Morris.
Okay. As you're going about your business, would you mind making me a little luck roll?
What?
Yeah. Look.
I'm a bit unlucky today.
Are you feeling lucky? Yes, you are. As you're going about your business, you spot a familiar figure heading to the house 5 doors down. See none other than Miss Martha Carter walking down Brompton Street and heading to the Fairfax house just down the road.
Oh, that was lucky.
It was indeed.
I'm not sure whether I would have been just outside the front at that point.
You can have been. You can. Yeah,
Who knows?
you know what? You can say good morning if you like.
I'll sort of sit back to her, wave to her as she heads that way. I'm not sure whether she'd walk past or from the other direction, but whatever suits the story.
Well, the route would probably lead down past to get to the Fairfax household.
I will nod in acknowledgement, but I'm going to go straight to the house.
Okay. It's a much smaller house than yours, but still a decently respectable-looking townhouse. No bell this time, just a brass knocker. A
I will
smartly
knock.
blackly painted front door. And the door is opened by a maid. Good morning, miss.
Good morning. I was wondering if this is still the household for Mrs. Anna Fairfax.
Yes, Mrs. Fairfax lives here.
Is she available for me to speak with?
Who should I say is calling?
I am Miss Martha Carter.
Wait there, please.
Thank you.
And she returns a moment later to say, Mrs. Fairfax is in the front room. This way.
Thank you.
As you're going through, you can see the mirrors in the house are still covered. It's clearly a house in mourning. There's black draperies, and as you go through into the front room, there is a woman in black crepe mourning dress, clearly still quite heavily in mourning, despite the time that's passed. Miss Carter, sorry, I didn't get your card. I would have had tea ready if I'd known you were calling.
I do apologize for this unscheduled visit. I actually was... First, I would like to pay my respects and condolences for your recent loss.
My husband back in December. But we've been married a long while.
Yes. I have some questions about your daughter, Victoria.
Yes, what's Queenie done?
Well, I received an invitation, and I'm going to pull the invitation out to show it to her. Last week, to dine with her at this address.
You must be mistaken. You've got the wrong Fairfaxes.
The wrong Fairfax. You have a daughter, Victoria, correct?
I do, but I'm fairly sure she's not sending out gilt-edged invitations to dine with her.
Has she been ill recently? Is she here?
No, she's not. Sorry. Queenie? Could you come down? Yes, Mama. And a moment later, the door opens and you see a girl looks to be probably about 15 or 16 years old. Steps into the room, dressed in mourning like her mother is. Queenie, darling, this woman says you sent her an invitation to dinner last week. Sorry, miss. You must have the wrong person.
This isn't your handwriting? I'm assuming the invitation is handwritten?
It is, yes. Well, I didn't write it. So
Very well.
it can't be my handwriting.
I do apologize. I'm so sorry. I must have the wrong Miss Fairfax. I hope you all stay well. And again, my condolences.
Thank you. You see the mother and daughter sort of look at each other in slight confusion as you leave.
And I step outside and I am quite confused. It is very obvious on my face that I am quite confused.
You step out, you're on Brompton Street, the carriages and people trundling past. Quite a busy main street heading up towards Piccadilly. Yeah. Where next?
I see the funeral home. I think I'm going to go in.
Okay. So as you enter, there's no one else currently in the front, or no customers or would-be customers in the front office, just a familiar gentleman.
Good day, Miss Carter. How are you?
I am... To be frank, I am quite confused. Do you mind giving me a description of the lady that came last week?
Early 20s. She was wearing a heavy cape, cloak type thing that covered all her clothing, so I couldn't tell much about what she was wearing or her build. I give the description of her hair because, just a general.
Dark hair, slightly sort of wispy and fly away. Pale looking.
Why are you so confused?
Well, I've done some research due to the event that I missed last week. The dinner.
Oh, you missed it.
I went to the home, but nobody answered the door.
That's very bad-mannered of them.
Well, you said she was kind of ill-looking, so I requested the police check in on her. And they found a deceased woman upstairs.
And was it well, have you seen the body? No, you are not familiar with Fairfax's.
No, I'm not familiar with the Fairfax family. I saw the body today. It was in quite a state, and according to the doctor, the body had been deceased for about 4 months. Am I correct, Keeper?
What Dr. Peterson said, yes.
Yes. Dr. Peterson, 4 months.
And this body was in the house?
Yes.
It's a bit strange to invite someone over for dinner when you've got a dead body in the house.
Are you familiar with the London Esoteric Society?
Only from what I've heard from Dr. Peterson.
Well, we deal with researching and communicating.
He has some of the unusual bodies, which seem a bit far-fetched, but...
Mm-hmm. Yes, well...
with his work.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Sorry, he's very enthusiastic with his work.
Yes, he is. I have a feeling that the dead body invited me.
How?
A ghost.
That's strange. Do ghosts often carry money for paying for services?
It's a very good question, and one of the things that we try to answer.
Oh well. Where is this body, by the way? Do you wish me to have a look at it to see whether it's the same young lady?
It is in Dr. Peterson's morgue.
Oh, yeah. I've been a number of times. May surprise you.
But there's really nothing to depict who the person is, really. But yes, if you'd like to.
I could try and identify it.
I've been doing some research on the Fairfax family, and I've just visited the one down the street. And it is not their daughter. There's only 2 other Victorias in a Fairfax family that it could be, and they are quite significantly older.
So someone just used her name.
Either they use their name or it's a ghost.
If it's a ghost of who?
That's what we're trying to find out.
But I can always ask my sister to cover the front desk, and we can have a wander to the morgue if you wish, and I can try and identify the body, see if it is the same young lady I saw. But it doesn't really make sense. I don't believe it could be. I mean, there are plenty of stories about ghosts and the like in the Penny Dreadfuls that people read all the time, but I do believe there may be some ghosts, but the likelihood of me encountering one? Having said that, I do work as an undertaker, so probably more likely than your general public, personally.
Yes, if you would like for me to accompany you back to the morgue, as I said, I've very recently was there.
Oh, why not? The more the merrier.
We're taking a merry little trip back to the morgue.
Yes.
Yeah, so you head back to the hospital and head back down to Peterson's domain in the basement. Probably actually the lower basement. As you arrive back down there, you're greeted by a surprised Dr. Peterson, who looks between the two of you and goes, "Miss Carter, Thomas, both of you."
Yes, pleasure to meet you again.
Didn't expect you to see you back here so soon, Miss Carter. And Thomas, you this business or social call?
Probably a bit of both, to be fair. But, I was told there was a strange body here that Miss Carter here
Yes.
wished me to have a look at.
Also, Miss Carter, I have pulled in some favours owed with the police.
Yes.
I got her things back for you.
Lovely. Thank you.
So, do you want to come through and see the body?
Why not?
If I could just wait here and look through the documents and things.
Yes. Hang on. There. Here, and he
Or
hands
in your
you,
office, whichever you'd like.
Yeah, he sort of ushers you through to his office and hands you, like, essentially a thick brown paper envelope and also essentially what is supposed to be a small sack. You sure you don't want to take another look?
I think that I'll be okay without looking.
All right.
I'll go through these documents here.
Thomas comes through. This one will be a challenge for your reconstructive talents. I think
Yes, I
it's
don't believe
not an
it.
open casket.
You certain?
I wouldn't.
It's a juicy one, is it?
It's got me on. We're into sort of a bit wizened now. Anyway.
Yes, let's have a look.
As she pulls it out, I am going to ask for a constitution roll, but you have a bonus die here because this is not the first decaying body you have met. I mean, it's not the first decaying body that Maddie's met, but...
Yeah, hard success.
Yes, you are prepared for this. And you see this sort of wizened, shrunken, semi-decayed remains of what was once a... Well, give me a... I think, would this be a medicine roll, or do we have any form of, like...
Biology, I haven't got medicine.
Yes.
But I won't be able to tell much medical-wise, but
Yeah,
just to get an idea.
Biology works. Essentially, whatever is your Undertaker's knowledge of dead bodies roll?
I think biology, chemistry, or natural world, but I think biology is probably. I'm not trying to do anything to heal them or treat them.
Biology works fine. As you looking
Just
over,
that.
you can see. I mean, she's still got her hair. Looks this dark hair that Dr. Peterson has sort of tidied up a bit out of the way so we could look at the rest. You reckon underneath the decay that she was a young woman, wizened up and dried, and also seems to be mostly partially eaten. As though something has like insects or other, perhaps rats involved as well, have eaten up much of the
No big
juicy innards of the corpse. No big bite marks, no.
Just checking.
But yeah, signs that's yes.
Doesn't look as if it could be the person I met.
I mean, the person you met was, whilst ill, much more alive than this. But they have,
Yes.
I mean, they have the same hair. And it's hard to be sure if it's the same bone structure in the face, but they could very well be the same person.
Or at least related, but it's too far gone to be able to tell it
I
either
mean,
way.
if it wasn't for the fact of the time that passed between the 2 points, you'd say it could very, very well be the same person. Now, here's the question. Is that a fact that Thomas Carter would consider possible?
He is already aware of strange things, so
I am going to then
maybe a
ask
twin.
for a sanity roll from you here as you're looking over this, because yes, this really does look like it could be the same woman, but that
Then again, it could be a twin. So
doesn't
just
quite make sense. So either you met an unknown twin, or maybe Maddie's right, maybe this was a ghost.
success.
But twins is most likely, really.
Yeah.
That's what the cheap answer is usually in the Penny Dreadfuls. Like, it turns out secret twins.
Or could be a relation.
Are we done here? Anything else?
No, you're right about the state of this body. Certainly not an open casket.
No. I'll shut her back up.
Yes, well, my involvement is, in this case, it seems as the young lady wished to arrange her funeral in advance, and there were suspicions that this may have been the same young lady, but obviously the body's too far gone to be the same person.
Well, so you're not taking her? Well, the police are pretty much done with it, so I'll be sending her down to cemetery. Person unknown. Like,
Well, the person I met had paid for their funeral in advance, and this does look like him, but it can't be them. I believe there's some sort of, perhaps a prank being played by someone.
perhaps.
It could very well be we do take this body off your hands and deal with it.
Oh.
The person had paid a large amount for the funeral, so it would cover another funeral easily enough.
Look, as I said, the police are done with the case. That's how I got the stuff back, so they don't seem to think there's anything worth looking into further. So, look, if you want her, you can have her.
Okay.
No one else is coming for her.
Yes, I think it's the best thing. We may as well ensure that they're buried correctly and respectably. We will take the body off your hands. Shall we see how Miss Carter's getting on?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we should go check. Meanwhile, Miss Carter, back in Peterson's office, left alone with his files and shelves full of jars of various things floating in formaldehyde. Some of which are recognisably human organs, some of which are less recognisable, but probably still human organs.
I'm looking through the packet of papers that were given before going through the satchel. I want to actually read it carefully.
There's not really much in there. These appear to be the contents of was found in the body's pockets. There are a couple of banknotes, small amounts, some paperwork signed by, it looks like it's been crumpled up a little bit. It does look to be funerary documents.
All right.
Signed by, there's a bit of a scroll at the end, but it does look like it's signed by V. Fairfax.
All right, I'll take note of that.
And but that's all there is.
Okay, then I'll go through the bag of things.
It appeared to be her clothing, a black crepe morning dress and a long sort of black cape that would be worn over it. And some black leather shoes, all with a kind of, well,
musty
smell.
Scent?
Yes, an unpleasant smell hanging over them as you open the bag. It sort of blends in with the general odour down here. But that's all there seems to be.
All right. I will, once I've gone through it, whenever they appear is when I'll go through the information that I have.
Okay, so Mr. Carter and Dr. Peterson shuffle into Peterson's quite cramped office with 3 people in it. Did you find what you're looking for?
Sort of. Here, Mr. Carter, you might want to look through this, and I'll hand him the funerary documents. It's signed by a V. Fairfax. And these clothes, and I'll hold up the cape or cloak that was in the bag, seem to meet your description of what the lady was wearing when she visited you.
They are the same clothes, and they're the same documents that you look. Yes.
Yes, it does look like the same, but well, the body's too far gone to have been the same person, although there are definitely similarities between that body and the person I met. It could be the person was a twin who was arranging this, but perhaps gave the a fake name, different name. But either way, it looks like the funeral documents match the ones that were filled in, so we will be taking the body off Victor's hands.
Shall I let the police know we've got an identity, or I mean, yeah.
I don't. Well, it'd be worth letting the police know that it is the. I'm not sure what to let the police know. Actually, this is confusing.
Shall I just let it go down as an unknown person?
No, I think I think we should determine who this body belongs to first. I think that's quite important. You said, Keeper, the other Victoria Fairfax that were in the records.
Yeah.
One was 1812.
Yes, and the other was 1834.
Okay. There was no death notifications with those ones?
No.
Thank you. I think that I should like to determine if this body is a Victoria Fairfax. There were 2 others. There was a Victoria Fairfax born in 1812 and a Victoria Fairfax born in 1834. It's possible that she might be one of those. If it was a ghost that visited to pay for this funeral, it's likely she may have presented herself as a younger person.
I do have another question, Keeper.
Yes?
The address for the invite, it's not the same as the address where Mrs. Morris...
It would be the next door house. The address for the invite was 23. Miss Morris was 25.
Next door.
Odd numbers on one side.
That's okay. This could be completely unrelated, but I've actually been asked to handle another funeral to the house next door to where you had been invited.
That's peculiar.
That's what I thought. I don't know any details about the body yet. It was just an arrangement. I think it was yesterday, perhaps. It came through the requested, so I'm not sure whether we would have already collected the body or...
You probably would have done, yes. You don't want to leave them lying around.
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to have a look at it myself properly yet to prepare it for burial, but it was a bit of a strange coincidence. But then again, it could just be that a coincidence. As you say, this person may have been using a different name. I'm fairly certain that body wouldn't have been the same person, but stranger things have happened.
Quite strange things have happened. Wouldn't you agree, Doctor?
I mean, yes. But you said 1812 and 1834. I mean, I do rather know my bodies. I don't think she was 56. Or 78.
The person I saw was early 20s.
Well, Victoria Fairfax, daughter of Anna Fairfax and William Fairfax, was only 15.
Oh well, looks like it's another mystery.
Oh, I wish Irene were available.
Irene?
She is a member of our society.
I do not know much about the society other than what Victor here has told me.
What did I not tell you about? Everything. No, she can talk to dead people, I think, or something like that.
She is, she conducts seances and such.
Oh, those are all the range. But anyway, we'll probably have to make arrangements to collect this body and... Oh well. It is a confusing mess.
Yes.
Yeah.
I should probably call upon the neighbors of this house to see if they knew anything of the person who lived
Next door to him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're going to the neighbours of 23 Milner Street?
Yes.
Okay. So you're heading over to talk to the neighbours. Thomas, where are you headed?
I'm going to have a look at the body with regards Mrs. Morris. And I've probably not had a chance to look at it since it's come in, so I'll probably just start dealing with that.
Okay. So you head back to look at the body, whereas Maddie heads to Milner Street, and you can see... you can actually probably see someone putting up black sort of mourning drapes at 25 Milner Street, next door to the house you were meant to be attending the dinner party at. Looks like someone has recently died there.
I will go to 21 Milner Street first, so as not to disturb the people in mourning.
Okay, the door is opened by a servant, a pale-looking young woman in a maid's dress. Afternoon, miss.
Hello. I was wondering if I could speak with someone about your neighbor next door in 23 Milner.
um, the mistress is in bed. It's not taking callers at the moment.
Would there be anyone else that I might speak with?
Mr. Watt's out of town. He gets back on Monday.
What about you? Would you know anything of
About
your neighbors?
At 25. Yeah, terrible shame. She was a lovely woman.
I meant 23.
Oh, I haven't really seen anyone there recently. They had the police round a couple of times last week.
Yes, well, I was. I apologize. My name is Miss Martha Carter, and I was invited to dinner last week at 23 Milner, but nobody responded when I knocked upon the door and called in.
Oh, I never really seen much of anyone living there. I thought it was empty.
I'm going to pull the invite. You don't recognize who might have written this?
Don't think so, miss. No. I mean, I never saw any servants coming or going, so I thought it was empty.
Well, it was empty for a while. It was.
Mr. Hindley used to live there, but he was renting it out. He and his wife went down to the seaside on account of her health, fresh air and all that.
All right. Unfortunately, they found somebody who had passed away. The police.
Oh, was that what the police were about?
Yes, somebody had passed away some 4 months ago, and the body was only just discovered.
No. Mr. Hindley only moved out 3 months back.
Did you see Mrs. Hindley with him?
Yeah.
Are you sure your mistress isn't available?
She's been laid up all week.
Is there an illness going on? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And I will turn around and go to 25.
Okay, as you're heading to 25, Thomas, you get back to the funeral home to your sister sort of But you've disappeared. We've had 3 more bodies come in all at once. We're going to get full up at this rate.
Looks like we're going to be busy. I was just visiting Dr. Peterson at the morgue. There may be another one on the way.
That weirdo.
Oh, he's okay, just a bit strange. Different, but knows his work, and
Do well.
there was someone who'd paid for a funeral in advance, and it seems the funeral's much earlier than I expected.
Poor soul. But yeah, on top of the ones on Milner Street, we've got one on the corner of Moore Street. But so I sent the background to collect.
It's all the same area.
Yes. Moore Street joins onto Milner Street, the corner at the top. Your sister came on like,
So there's
Well,
three
if we got
bodies.
that earlier, we could have sort of done like a joint collection, but I suppose the families would have been disappointed by that.
3 bodies, you say? Were they from the same address?
No, there's the one from Miller Street earlier, then 2 from Moore Street. Husband and wife.
So 2 from Moore Street.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if there's some new illness coming around.
Ooh.
It seems a bit strange that all these in the same area.
I'll get the vinegar. Scrub stuff down.
Probably a good idea to be careful.
Just in case.
Yes, I was just going to have a look at the Mrs. Morris and start
Yeah.
dealing with that.
She's back there.
And I'll head that way to start preparing them for burial and
Yeah.
usual.
Mrs. Morris is laid out. A woman in her probably early 50s. It's the kind of same sort of pale appearance you get from someone who's been sick for a while and is now dead. But you're no doctor, so as for what exactly the cause of death is, that's not your area.
Exactly.
She's definitely dead.
I don't have to roll to check that?
No. Not for this one.
Well,
In fact, already you can smell the decay in the room. She's rotting away.
yes.
I mean, it's quite a warm summer's day, but
Chances are the bodies are kept in a sub-level where it's cool.
it's cool down here, but as in, it would have been warm in her house before then.
Very true. I'll just spend some time preparing the body, I suppose.
Okay. Do you want to give me a biology roll whilst you're doing that? You don't have to.
It's just a bit suspicious. Is this for what I'm doing, or
This isn't for,
my work?
This isn't for your work. This is...
It's a fail. Quite a fail.
You're busy in your thoughts as you're getting on with your job.
Yes. Just on automatic pilot.
Meanwhile, Maddie, you head round to 25.
Yes.
There's a sort of cluster of various sort of relatives and sort of people offering condolences, and there seems to be a bit of a commotion going on. But amidst it all is the rather distressed looking Richard Morris, still keeping it together for now. Thank you. Good afternoon, Miss.
I am Martha Carter. I wanted to give my condolences. I am wondering if you've noticed anything unusual lately.
How lately?
Within the last few months.
I mean, this last week I've been busy. I mean, after Caroline got sick, I haven't really been paying attention to much. Do you mean just in general, or?
In general, unfortunately, there was a deceased body found next door.
Okay.
And it seems like nobody's been in and out of that house for several months.
No, there was a woman living next door.
Do you know who it was?
I never got her name. Young woman. Fairfax. She was one. Yeah, I remember because one of the Fairfaxes.
She was a Fairfax. Okay.
I think that's what she said. I only crossed paths with Caroline. Would have known more. She used to talk to her sometimes. But
I apologize. Keeper.
Yes.
Did that cough sound very, very much like the maid's cough down the street?
Yes.
Are you quite well?
I'm fine. Just getting over an illness. That's all. It's been a trying week. Is there anything else you wanted to know?
No, I'm just trying to determine who exactly it was that invited me to dinner. And I pull out the invitation. I received this.
It wasn't for me.
No, it wasn't.
Look, Miss Carter, was it? I'm
Yes.
sorry, but my wife died last night, and is this important?
It might be, but I apologize. If it does become more important, I'll come back. I am sorry to take your time. And I will excuse myself.
Okay, so you step back out on the street, you see sort of the commotion at number 25, the stillness from the other houses, and the familiar door you didn't step through last time at 23 next door. Is there any other business you want to attend to down here in Brompton?
I want to try the door at 23. See if it's locked or not.
Police have been in and out.
Mm-hmm.
The door does now appear to be locked. For the general safety of the house, they have locked it behind them. You can attempt to unlock it if you wish, but however, I don't believe you possess the expertise that
No, I do
the
not.
once notorious Franco did.
No, I think I'll return home then.
That's just the front door.
I am not going to try the back door yet.
Okay.
I'm going to return home.
Okay, you return home. And Thomas, you carry on your day's work.
I do have another question. I'm not sure what the law was around this time. And to be fair, I suspect none of us are probably sure what the
I was
law...
going to say, if the question is a detailed one about Victorian law, I suspect I may not know the answer. But
Because I know these days, if a large number of people die within a certain area, it gets reported to effectively the hospitals or
essentially,
the
if this gets flagged by as in,
So I'm not sure what it was around this time. I don't think it would have been up.
I think it would probably take a bit more to trigger it, given there's
If it
a
was,
lot more people would die of illness.
if the number of deaths was double what it is, then perhaps it would be something that would get flagged up.
But that would probably be the duty of an undertaker to sort of bring that to the attention of a local hospital if you think there is a concern.
Yes.
As someone well placed to see a rise in bodies.
So, yeah, you just carry on as normal, I suppose. Although, having said that, at the end of his working day, he will actually visit the society.
Okay, so at the end of the day, you head over up to Mayfair to the home of the society. Maddie, was there anything else you wanted to do before that evening, before the time that Thomas comes by?
The only thing that I want to do is make sure I clean myself. Washing the hands, the face, probably take a nice scalding bath.
That can be done. Yes,
as I've been speaking with people who have been ill. But then I'll be fully dressed before he arrives, I think.
Yeah, dressed and we're finishing up with how late are we going? Is it supper time or earlier on?
I suspect it's likely to be earlier on because he would have just finished.
Okay, so yeah, you head over. James shows you through. Assuming, Maddie, you're letting him in the house.
Yes, that's fine.
So James would show you through to either the library, the parlour, or one of the...
Library.
Through to the library. So Thomas, when you step foot in this room, before you see these shelves of all sorts of, well, I don't know how Maddie has extended on her great uncle's collection, but books of history, archaeology. Do you still have the glass cases with various less dangerous artifacts in them?
Yes, but they are properly locked, and the glass has been reinforced with some metal barring behind it, I think.
Yeah. And are there any weapons on display on the wall anymore?
I think we would have gotten some new weapons on display. Maybe replicas of some of my great uncle's weapons as before.
Just in case. Okay, you're shown through into this rather impressive library.
This is a very nice room.
Thank you. I'm sorry I wasn't expecting you to visit. Please come have a seat.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I wasn't sure whether to visit or not. But there was something just seemed rather strange. I thought it best to make you aware of. Well, I mentioned about Mrs. Morris, who died next door to the property you had been invited to, where the other body had been found.
Yes.
Well, there's also another 2 bodies that I've been told about from an adjoining street, which I thought was just strange that all these, within a short time, all in the same area.
It seems that there is illness in that area. I spoke with the neighbors on either side of 23. So the maid of the address 21 has a cough and looks quite pale. And she said that her mistress had been laid up in bed all week.
That was my concern, whether there was some sort of new illness in the area.
I think so. And it seems that Mr. Morris also has a cough. He says he's getting over an illness, but I'm not quite sure.
But getting over what illness?
I don't know.
Neither do I.
He has the same cough the maid from 21 had.
Well, the young lady who booked her own funeral, effectively, seemed to have quite a cough as well.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Morris did confirm that that 23 was being let out for a young lady with the last name Fairfax, but he didn't remember the first name.
Yeah, it must have been just a name they were using. It's perhaps a fake name as such. I'm just curious whether, knowing now about a person's health, although they assured me the illness was not contagious, whether they had planned to meet with you and pass it on to you. If it is an illness that has spread.
Unsure. I've taken a bath since I've returned home. I suggest you do the same once you return home.
Oh, I always do. We have to make sure dealing with what we deal with. I'd like you know about this strange circumstances around those.
I strongly suggest letting the proper authorities know that there is an illness breaking out in that area. How it's being passed around, I'm not sure. Is it possible, I'm not sure if you would know, but is it possible for a deceased body to pass illness?
I believe so. Actually, I'm not sure, Keeper. Honest, I cannot remember because I seem to remember something about.
Depends on the illness. Some do, some don't. I'm
Seem
not
to
that sort of
remember.
doctor.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, so I wouldn't know. But I seem to remember something about a doctor who decided to start. He used to look at dead bodies and living patients in the same place, and he started washing his hands, and the number of
Yes,
deaths.
I have forgotten his name, but yes, he was.
He's very famous and well known on it about hygiene in hospital.
Oh,
I don't know what time period he was.
I think he was before this date, but I cannot remember his name.
We can assume
That's
we
good.
believe diseases are passed from
Yeah,
dead
that
bodies.
was.
Burning of bodies, that disease as well.
Yeah, that would have been earlier on. Pretty sure. Yeah.
Something I learnt in school, but I cannot remember.
Yes, I learned too, but it'll come back to me.
Yes. So anyway, to answer the question, yes, I do believe some diseases can be passed from dead bodies, which is why I believe they cremate some bodies now to ensure that diseases are not passed. But it's also a cheaper option.
Well, Dr. Peterson said that the body was deceased for about 4 months.
Semmelweis, sorry. That
Sorry?
was back in
Weiss?
Semmelweis, back in like the 40s. 1840s. And
Right.
Florence Nightingale as well. Sorry, back
to our channel.
No worries.
Yes, sorry.
Well, the body had been dead for 4 months. According to the maid in 21, the house had been in what appeared to be empty for about 3 months, as the owner of the house, Mr. Henley, had left for the seaside with his wife only 3 months prior. 3 months ago.
Well, I suspect I don't know much about diseases or illnesses, but there's some that could probably make the body look much worse than it really is. Or make it, I won't say age more, but it's probably difficult to tell with some illnesses how long someone's been dead from it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so it could be a mistake somewhere.
I'm going to write to Mr. Hindley and see if he is aware of anything that's going on in his home, and let him know that his tenant had passed away, and that his neighbors have fallen ill and some have passed away.
Perhaps he'll have more information about his tenant.
That's my intention in writing. I think that this is going to take quite some time.
It doesn't seem straightforward, but it could be just complete coincidence that these deaths are in the same area.
It's possible.
But you mentioned the other neighbours were ill. What sort of symptoms did they have?
So the maid in 21 Milner, she was very pale, as if she'd not been outside for quite a long time, and she had a cough.
How old was she?
Keeper, she was about 20s?
Probably in her 20s, yeah.
I would assume in her 20s.
Quite short, blonde hair.
Short with blonde hair.
Different colour hair, so it just she was the right age.
Then, but she said that her mistress was in bed all week. Mr. Morris had the same cough that the maid had. It sounded almost exactly the same.
Does all sound as if it's the same illness, because the young lady who is arranging her own funeral, as it happens, had a very nasty cough as well. At least she covered her mouth when she was coughing in my presence.
Yes. Do you have arrangements for dinner, or would you like some tea before leaving, or?
I've no arrangements, but
How late is it now, Keeper?
Depending on what time. At 7 o'clock?
Would you like to stay for dinner?
I wouldn't say no to dinner.
I will let James know that we have added one more plate to the table.
Mrs. Brownlee will be very... He always likes it when we have guests. I will send down word.
Do you often have guests?
Yes, but most of my associates from the society are on holiday right now for business, and so they are away. It's just me for the time.
What sort of things do you deal with? Well, treat, is it like a, I suppose, private investigation?
Yes, it is private investigation of a sort. But it's more we deal with peculiar and unusual cases that generally have a hint of the paranormal.
So things that aren't explained by, well, general knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Victor had told me if we came across any strange bodies to let you know. He thought it would be of interest to you. But they go to him first, so very likely he'd let you know anyhow.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's been fairly quiet for the last year or so. So everybody's decided to take a holiday, and at least one person needs to stay in presence just in case.
Well, it seems there's 4 bodies in the same area at the moment. That I know of.
Yes, well, I think I shall be writing letters to my associates to see if there's anybody available who would like to assist in this matter, as one hand and one mind isn't always easy to deal with things.
Dinner's ready.
Thank you. Please, this way.
And I'll follow. Is there anything strange about this property as I'm wandering through? Or even the library, to be fair?
I don't know, Maddie, is there anything on display in the society that would be abnormal for a
Other than the fact
very
that
upper-class
things
Victorian
turned up.
townhouse?
There is, in the library behind the glass, some stones with carvings. That may or may not catch the eye. Nothing extremely outlandish is on display.
But a lot of, I wouldn't say security as such, but everything in cases seems to be overly secure. So nothing unusual.
Nothing unusual, but...
Yeah, as for pictures on the wall, I know you originally it had some various family portraits of older, of John's ancestors. Are they still hanging up?
Yes.
Your sort of great-grandfather and various other figures.
Yes.
You've also sort of maintained perhaps a if you would want to, a relationship with Mal Shipley, a friendly sort of back and forth. He's now back in the world of the sane, so, and painting less mind-altering pictures. If you want to have added any Shipley paintings to the collection, you can have done. It's up to you.
Yes, I think we would have had one or two pieces added. And I think maybe in one of the parlors might be some portraits of various members of the society.
But other than that, I mean, the decoration, this is clearly a wealthy household, like, just from the size of the house, but also
The address.
the address, the leather of valuable antique, and sort of everything about it. This is whatever the society is, they're backed by money.
Good to know.
You're led through into the dining room, and yes, a lovely dinner is served up. Courtesy of you see, you're served by James and his companion, a footman. He does stand out by having an eye patch and a notably unprofessional attitude as he's serving. But that dinner is served, and if there's anything you wish to discuss or arrange over dinner, you may do.
I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have. I plan on writing to the owner of 23 Milner to find out what's the history of the house and the tenant and how they might be feeling.
Well, what I'll do, I'll contact, there's a couple of funeral parlours in the area. I'll ask to see whether they've been dealing with bodies from the same area.
Yes.
If there's a new illness, that would be something to be concerned with. There may be, I believe there's a couple which are quite new to the area, but we do know of a couple that also cover this area, so we'll reach out to them and see whether there's any patterns that we need to inform the authorities about.
Okay. So, other than a bit of discussion about rampant illnesses and dead bodies, it's probably a perfectly pleasant dinner.
What else would you talk about over dinner?
Exactly. After dinner, I've got a question for Mr. Carter. Is your home address the same as the funeral home address or elsewhere?
It'll be elsewhere.
Okay, so
His parents live at the funeral place, but he does live nearby, just not at the same address.
so you'd be going back to your own address, not to funeral home that night?
To be fair, he'd probably return to the funeral home. I mean, his parents live there. And I suspect his sister probably still lives at home, although she's caught in at the moment. And he'll have to pick up his dog, because the dog would have been left with his sister, who tends to look after it when he's not. So he'll be heading back to the address to pick up his dog and to see his parents and that.
Okay, as you head back to the funeral parlour, there's quite a bit of fluster and commotion going on in the back rooms. You can hear your sister sort of explaining to your father, going, "Look, Thomas was looking at the body. I only saw it briefly, but it was fine earlier."
Yeah, I'll make my way there.
And as you make
Everything
your way through
okay?
the back, you get the smell of, there's definitely more of a smell of rotten decay than there was previously. And they've got to the body of what you suddenly realise is Mrs. Morris out on the slab. And it's dressed and laid out as you laid it out earlier. But
Much worse for wear?
much, much more decayed. Seems to have withered and decayed away.
Sort of mummified, or...
Less mummified, it's more sort of rotting and decaying, and you can see movement under the skin now.
That's not good.
Wriggling of
Maggoty stuff.
corruption and maggots. But more so than you expect for a body of this age.
Especially seeing I'd just seen the body a short time before.
Yes. And your sort of family turn to look at you for an explanation.
I'm looking at the body, looking back at them, and looking back at the body.
And
That's
you
not how
see
I
this
left it.
corruption and decay. I am going to ask for another sanity roll from you. This is definitely not how it was the last time you saw it.
Yes. Success again.
You saw 84 sanity.
He's very stubborn.
Sorry, 84 sanity. I didn't even know it went that high.
It's actually lower than it was. Actually, but, yes, he's very stubborn.
But yeah, this is a much more decayed body than when you saw it last.
Has anyone done anything to his body since I left?
I haven't touched it.
We probably need to seal this up and let the authorities know. It might be worth letting Inspector Thorne know at New Scotland Yard, because I'd recently been asked to look at someone had recently booked a funeral. They used the name Victoria Fairfax.
Yeah, you said about it before. Yeah.
Well, I was asked to check a body at the morgue that Dr. Peterson had, and it looked as if it could have been the same body. It was much worse for wear than it could have been for someone I'd just seen the day previously. So there's also a couple of bodies from Moore Street, I think, have just come in.
Yeah, they're in the other room.
It could be there's some new illness that causes the bodies to go like this, but I don't know if anything I could have not. I've never seen this before.
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, and we've dealt with a lot of bodies over the years, so it could be something new, but I don't know what it could be. But it's probably important to let people be aware of this. Not the public as such, but the authorities, in case there's some new illness.
If by the case, I'll go over to the hospital. I'll let them know.
It could be a new illness that we've not seen before. Maybe something from the tropics or India.
Maybe, yes.
That makes perfect sense. Oh well, not another one that's because
yes, right, we'll shut them down. And then you hear your sister's voice in the other room, like, the others are like this too, the Moore Street bodies.
As well. And they only died last night.
Yeah. We'll shut them all away.
That's the best thing. We may have to look into I'd hate to say this, but encourage them to be cremated, perhaps.
Cremation. It'll put us all out of business, you know. If everyone starts getting the idea you can just burn your relatives instead of giving them a proper burial, then,
Yes. I know
the next thing you know, it's going to be, we don't even need to give them a proper funeral, and then the whole business goes under. Cremation is the beginning of the end.
It'll be a last resort. But, we won't go that far just yet. It's best that they're buried as a family's wish.
Yes. We don't need to resort to such drastic measures, I'm sure. Well, all right. Send word to the hospital, but I feel most of this will have to wait till the morning.
Yes. Till the morning.
Yes, indeed.
I'm just working on the assumption that none of us have seen anything like this before.
This is nothing like you've seen before. This doesn't
Not even
look.
stories.
No, this doesn't look like a case you've seen before. This shouldn't happen. Even in summer, this shouldn't be happening. But,
Now, I'm going to ask a strange question. Because Thomas is aware of mythos as such, and strange things are there that he doesn't understand. And he does read a lot of penny dreadfuls and strange stories.
I mean, this could be the story from a penny dreadful. I mean, there's
what I mean,
secret twins, corpses full of maggots. This is...
It fits the sort of thing.
Mystery party invitations. Yeah.
What sort of role would be involved? Do you not mythos? I don't know.
I mean, you don't have any mythos. Do you?
That's why his sanity's only 84.
I mean, you can make a mythos roll, although I don't think your mythos is very... How have you... Oh, no, that's Mortimer. I was like, how have you got that with mythos?
Yeah, he's got... I don't know how much does Mortimer have?
Okay, we might have to look at that, because you have more than would be reasonable for someone who's not come across any mythos there.
Okay.
I'd say at most you've got 2.
Okay.
Based on your previous experience with mythos.
That was put his sanity back up.
Yeah. Like, mythos of that level is the kind you take reading books to acquire. Or running into multiple horrible, nasty things that sap your sanity and destroy your mind.
Just looking... What about an occult role?
Yeah, this might fall under an occult.
Nope, that's a fail. That's close.
I mean, it doesn't match up with any of your... You know enough to think that, based on what you know of the occult and what you've learnt from talking to Peterson, this sounds like a case for the London Esoteric Society. This is weird, strange dead bodies.
Yeah. I think his knowledge of the occult comes from penny dreadfuls.
Yeah. Very reliable sources.
They are. Everyone reads them.
But, yes. If there was ever a case for the society, in your opinion, this seems like it matches the description. Speaking of the society, Maddie, was there anything you wanted to do that evening after Mr. Carter had left?
Would I have any books on illnesses of the occult variety?
You don't have any specific books on occult illnesses. Illness, death, and corruption are mentioned in various of your tomes and various other books you have in your collection. You probably have some mundane books on medicine and that manner of things, but no specific books on the two things together.
All right. I believe we have a maid or of some sort, scullery maid or maid, that we hired on a year and a half ago, give or take.
Yes.
And she may know something.
Yes.
I'm going to
Purton.
Yes, I'm going to ask to speak with her if she has some time.
Miss Carter, I still can't do a Somerset accent. What can I do to help you? Or just what? Clearing up after dinner?
I'm so sorry to bother you. I know this is a little bit peculiar, and I was wondering if you know anything about illnesses. If you, in your hometown, if anyone or quite a large number of people became ill quickly?
People didn't get ill much in Goatswood, really. If ever. Lamar always said it was the woods looking out for us.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's only after I came here to the city, though. You know, half all these things I hadn't even heard of them back home. You know, typhoid, typhus, all that sort of stuff. We didn't have that in Goatswood. There's good, clean country air. And, the odd sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
But,
All right.
I mean, I know some my mother has some cures for illness that we used to use. If you know, if someone had hurt their foot or something, you gather things from the forest and say a few words, and sometimes it turns out all right.
Any
Mr.
potions or
Westwood did
tonics?
end up with an extra finger.
All right. I was just curious. If you can think of anything that may have been unusual, or any potions or tonics, or juices that might be drunk to prevent illness,
I
let
mean,
me
I
know.
wouldn't know where to find half the things in London. I mean, the things growing in Goatswood, I never seen them growing anywhere else.
Are you still writing were you ever writing letters to your family?
No. Look, if I write, they'll know where I am, and then, they'll send someone to get me, and, I don't want to go back.
True.
I think it's best for them if I, disappear.
All right. I hope you're enjoying your time here.
Yeah, I mean, you were only in Goatswood, a couple of days, but, I mean, you know what it was like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go back.
And I won't make you.
All right.
You can stay here as long as you'd like.
But, my mother always did say that chopped garlic was good if you were feeling ill.
Chopped garlic?
Yeah.
We might want to have fresh garlic on hand then.
I'll get some in.
Hey, thank you. Have a good evening.
Agnes scurries away. So, as the mysterious corruption spreads, as the mystery of the woman who may or may not be Victoria Fairfax continues, I think that is going to have to be where we leave things off for tonight, as our time is drawing to a close. We will continue this investigation next week.